Hello, friends. This is our guided reading lesson for Monday, December 9th. This book is Wonders of Nature. It is a nonfiction informational book, meaning that it's all based on facts and is totally real. This book is the summary is, our planet has many unique and fascinating animals, and Wonders of Nature introduces you to some of the most interesting among them. Amazing photos support the facts that you will learn about these creatures. So our goal today is to summarize. That is our targeted reading strategy. Our objectives, or what we will learn, is how to summarize, to understand a text, compare and contrast, recognize subjects and predicates in sentences, and place words in alphabetical order. So before we get started reading, I would like you to ponder this word. Find the share screen button. All right. So this word is wonder. Wonder. Wonder can mean to think, to ponder, to ask questions. It is also the root word in wonderful, which means amazing and brilliant and awestruck. So we have wonder and wonderful. What are some things that you wonder, or some things that you find wonderful? And this can be about nature, or it can be about anything. So take a moment, you can pause this, of course, and take a second to think about that. What do I wonder, and what do I find wonderful? All right, now that you had a moment to wonder and think about wonderful things, let's go ahead and preview our book. So on the left here, I have the back cover, and on the right is the front cover. So if we fold it in half, it's the front and back cover of the book. So this is Wonders of Nature, written by Cheryl Ryan. So we talked about the summary of the book, what the book is about. So we know it's going to be informational, real facts about nature. So let's look at these pictures. I see 3 different pictures here. What do you see in the pictures? What do you think that they will mean for the story? Well, on the left for the back cover, I see it looks at, whenever you first look at it, it looks like a leaf. But if you look closer, you see eyes and like some kind of feelers and some legs. It's actually a bug. So I wonder what kind of bug that's going to be. And then on the right for the front cover at the very top, I see leaves, and there's a spider on the leaf in the middle, and underneath that is a fish underwater, and if you look, there's water coming out of the fish's mouth and it's touching the leaf. So that's cool. I wonder what that's about and how that relates to our story. Moving along, we have a glossary. Do you remember what a glossary is? A glossary is a place that we go whenever we want to know the meaning of a word. So for instance, here is a word, it says burrow. It has a V beside it, so that means it is a verb. It is something that you do. And the definition is to dig a tunnel. And I can find the word burrow in a sentence on page 14. And that continues the whole way down. And as you can see, there's N, that means noun. ADJ, that means adjective. A noun is a person, place, or thing, and an adjective is a descriptor, something that describes something. And these are out of order because you're supposed to fold the book. So it's in order on your page, I promise. And let's look at the table of contents here. What is the table of contents? What's the purpose of that? Well, the table of contents we go to, and it tells us what is happening on each page, the different subjects. So the very first page of content of the things that we're reading about is an introduction. And then pretty much each page afterward is a different type of animal found in nature. So the archer fish, a trapdoor spider, so on. Then there's the conclusion, that piece that wraps up the book, and the glossary that we talked about. So whenever we want to find a specific topic, we go to the table of contents. So as I mentioned, our strategy today that we are going to focus on is summarizing. And we've done a little bit of work on this, but we're just going to be reviewing. So one way to understand what you're reading is to stop often while you're reading to summarize in your mind what you're reading about. So as I read this book, Wonders of Nature, I'm going to stop every so often to remind myself about each animal I have read about so far. This helps me remember what I'm reading and makes me think about new information. When I finish reading the book, I should be able to tell in my own words some of the new information about the wonderful creatures I have read about. As you read, you can use this reading strategy and others to understand what you're reading. So one way an author helps readers understand information in a book is to tell how topics in the book are alike and different. So let's look at the photos on the front and back cover of our book. So these photos show two different types of animals. They are alike in some ways and different in some ways. One way that they are alike is that they both disguise themselves in some way. One way they are different is that one is an insect and one is a fish. So we can use a Venn diagram to model comparing and contrasting. So, apologize. Let me pause this so I can draw a Venn diagram for you. Alrighty, so I had to make a Venn diagram and I forgot to do that. So that was my bad. Let's look at this. So in a Venn diagram, if I were drawing it on a board, the two circles here would connect. So this circle is all about the front cover of the book. And this circle is all about the back cover. And these two circles should overlap, but they don't because I drew it on a computer. So I have this little section here, and this is how they both are alike. And again, I can't write in these. It's because I'm on a computer. Technology is not always the best way to go, but it's what we have, so it's what we do. So on the front cover, there is the fish. And on the back cover, there is an insect. So that's how they're different. The front cover is a fish, and the back is an insect. A fish and an insect are not the same thing. However, they both disguise themselves. That's how they are similar. Can you add more to this Venn diagram? So 3 of our vocabulary words for this book are burrow, camouflage, and erosion. I would like you to take a minute and think about these 3 words and come up with your own definition, what you think the words mean. Then I would like you to go to the glossary, check the proper definition, and then go to the page number listed to read the word in a sentence. Okay, so now we're going to dive into this book. You're going to read the book to learn more about these interesting animals. And while you're reading, I want you to stop after each animal to review and summarize what you learned. So I'd like you to open up your book and read to the end of page 8, then stop. And you can pause this recording while you do that. So now that you have finished reading, what words, if any, did you have trouble with? Which animals did you have some prior knowledge on? And how did that information help you understand what you were reading? I'd like you to pick one animal that you just read about and summarize what you learned. So for example, as I read page 5, I paused to summarize in my mind what I learned about the trapdoor spider. For example, I read the spider makes its door out of silk and dirt. I'll keep reading to learn more interesting facts about other animals, and while I read, I'll summarize what I've read to help me remember the new information. All right, now I'd like you to read to the end of page 11. So go ahead and pause. Now that you read to the end of page 11, can you share the important information about the flying dragon and the leaf insect? Can you write a little summary of each section on a piece of paper? Can you compare and contrast the flying dragon and the leaf insect? You can make your own Venn diagram to do that. All right, you can read the remainder of the book and remember to think about the details in the book so you can summarize information after you read. So now that you have read the book, let's think about how summarizing helped you understand. So I know that summarizing keeps me actively involved in what I'm reading and helps me understand and remember what I've read. I know that I will remember more about this strange and wonderful creatures because I summarized the information in my own words as I read. So now I would like you to choose one of the animals on pages 11, 12, 13, 14, or 15 and write a summary on a separate piece of paper. So let's review one more time the similarities and differences between the flying dragon and the leaf insect. And let's add to that Venn diagram that you made if any new information comes up. And remember, in a Venn diagram, one subject, which could be the flying dragon, is in one circle. The other subject, which is the leaf insect, is in another. And then in the center where the two join is their similarities. Can you tell me some examples of how the archerfish and the sea dragon are alike and different? You can make a new Venn diagram. Okay, and if you would like to have some more practice, which I highly encourage because it's always good to practice, you can complete this Venn diagram worksheet. Let me share my screen. I always lose the button. There we go. You can compare and contrast the flying dragon and sea dragon. So you can write the details that tell how the topics are different in the outer circles. That's the one that says flying dragon different and sea dragon different. And then write details that tell how the topics are alike where the circles overlap. And it says alike right there. So that is one way you can practice. Okay, gotta find my page. All right, so the enduring understanding, what I would like you to walk away thinking about is in this book, you learn about many different types of animals. You learn how each animal has unique skills for survival. Now that you've read this information, why is it important to learn about the diversity of living things on our planet? All right, and it's also important that we build a couple of more skills. So these are some things I'd like you to consider to do. Building your grammar and mechanic skills. So let's look at this sentence. Okay, so let's look at this sentence. Some animals look unusual. What is the simple subject of this sentence? So what is this sentence about? The who, what part of the sentence? Animals. Animals is our subject. And then the predicate is the other part of the sentence says what's going on. So like the verb. So what is the predicate in this sentence? Look. That is our simple predicate. Now, if I combine some animals, that makes a complete subject, the whole subject of the sentence. And if I combine look unusual, that is the complete predicate of the sentence. Okay, so let's look at this sentence that I highlighted on page 5. A trapdoor spider lives in a sticky underground tunnel with a hidden door. What is the simple subject of that sentence? It is spider. And what is the predicate of that sentence? Lives. And trapdoor is an adjective that describes spider. All right, now you can practice by doing this worksheet. Underline the complete subject and complete predicate in each sentence. Then circle the simple subject and simple predicate in each sentence. Okay. Something else that you can practice is putting words in alphabetical order by using the first, second, and third letters. So let's look at this word. Okay. So I have beaver and spider. If we're going in alphabetical order, which word would come first? Beaver, because beaver starts with B and spider starts with S. B comes before S. Okay, now let's look at these words, color and change. Well, they both start with C, so what do? We go to the second letter. So this letter is O and this letter is H. So H comes before O in the alphabet. So change becomes before color. Let's try this one. Well, they both start with F, and then they both go to the second letter's I, so we have to go to the third letter. Does V come before or after S in the dictionary? In the alphabet. My goodness. Fish comes before 5 because S comes before V. So we do a little switcheroo. There you go. And you can practice by cutting out, let's see, these words and arranging them in alphabetical order. All right, friends, that ends our guided reading lesson for today. Have a wonderful day.